After we've got a calf and that's been produced on the ranch, and that calf is weaned from the cow, there's a lot of different options for what happens to that calf next. The two different options. The one thing that calf can do is it can go put back out on grass, or it can go into the feedlot segment or directly on feed to be finished out. Some things that determine whether the animal goes on grass or maybe goes straight to the feed yard or on feed. One would be the weight of the animal. If that calf is weaned at 7, maybe 800 pounds, a heavier calf, it may go directly into the feed yard, whereas calves that are lighter than that will likely go on grass. Another thing that determines whether or not they go on grass or put on grain fed would be environmental conditions and time of year. We see a lot of calves that'll go out on winter grasses, of course during the cooler months or in the spring. We'll also see some summer grazing, but less of those. The biggest thing that affects stocker operations, or the grazing component of the segment of the production side of beef, would be whether or not it rains or not, and whether or not Mother Nature cooperates and we're able to produce some grass for those cattle to go on after they wean them off. And so let's talk a little bit about the stocker side. And as those cattle move from the ranch into a grazing segment, essentially those calves are put back out on ranches across the United States. They're put out on grass, and forage is the predominant resource for those calves. And the main reason is because it's a very economical source of nutrients, and those cattle can get some fairly efficient economical gains before they move into the finishing phase of it. And those calves they graze a lot of different varieties. A real common one would be wheat pasture or oats or ryegrass or some kind of clovers or legumes. Those would be in the winter and spring, all the way to maybe some fields that have been cropped, and they're grazing some of the crop residues out there. Or they could be, they were put out on summer pastures, some native pastures and those kind of things. And again, as differences in grass dictate differences in gains that we see on those cattle. And cattle on wheat pasture or high quality winter pasture, they may be seeing gains in that 2 to 3 pounds. On some of our lower quality forages during the summer, we may be 1/2 to 1.5 pounds average daily gain. And so they get some growth and some gain out of those calves, and they're usually held on grass until they reach that 800 to 900 pounds of gain, or till the grass runs out. And then they move on into the next segment of beef cattle production, and that would be into the feed yard. One of the unique things about cattle is that they are ruminant. And with ruminants, they can take plant material that's not necessarily suited for human consumption or even just monogastric consumption, but they can take that forage, that grass, either a high quality grass or even some of the lowest quality grass. They can take that forage, consume it, and convert it into really ultimately a beef product for us humans to consume. And so they're unique that we can utilize them in areas that are not suited for crop production, and we can have those cattle. They naturally do it. They get out, they can harvest those grasses for us, take the nutrients, the protein, the energy, the vitamins and minerals out of that grass, convert it into good quality beef for us as consumers to consume.